All right, well, let's find out what happens. It's time for our first semifinal. I'm going to pass it on over to Riley and Monty in the booth.
Well, thank you very much, Maria, and thank you to Ailey and Frank as well for setting us up here so magnificently for our first semi-final. My name's Riley Knight, and I'm joined by my friend and colleague Marnie Davudi, and we're going to head down to the feature match area to get into this match. It is a Nadu mirror. Every now and again, Wizards just prints a 3-mana Simic creature that ends up just being
blue-green.
Way too good. Not even a creature. No, sometimes not even a creature. We get planeswalkers as well.
Is it a curse mana cost?
We've got to be very, very careful moving forward about the old 1-green-blue 3-drops, I think. Anyway, our competitors join us here on the stage. Eli Kassis and Sam Pardee, both of these champions in their own right. They took out the Neon Dynasty and the Strixhaven championships online, respectively, during the pandemic era. But they are here to rumble in person, in paper, and I'm very excited to get underway with this match. We had a brief look at those deck lists, Money. As we head into this match, is there anything you're keeping an eye on in terms of differences between the two lists and how that may affect the outcome of this match?
Well, Sam has a Volatile Stormdrake in the main deck that you see is in his opening hand. That is sort of the mirror breaker, though talking to Eli, he says that it doesn't matter as much as maybe we would think. Key to the mirror is having the Sylvan Safekeeper in your deck in play so you can protect against the Stormdrake. And really, I think the biggest difference is Sam has those Teferis where Eli has the One Ring. And while each can be good in their own spots, the One Ring is almost the fair one. Another card that, sorry, the unfair one, I should say, in the exchange. Another card that I do want to point out as one that was very impressive in Eli's list is actually Bristly Bill. We saw what Bristly Bill was able to do as almost a additional Nadu enabler while also giving you that aggressive avenue to come onto the board quickly and compound damage. So I think having those might give Eli a slight edge.
Well, we can see here that Sam Pardee's hand is stacked with action. He's got Delighted Halfling, which is going to help him accelerate his mana should he choose. But he's also got the combo. He's got Nadu, he's got Shuko in hand, excuse me. Whereas on the other side of things, Wall of Roots just been played here for Eli. Still an Outrider and Core in hand for him as well.
Yeah, we could just see Sam go Delighted Halfling into Shuko this turn and set up for a guaranteed Nadu next turn. And that could just be it. Eli could only watch. Of course, the existence of Haywire Might in the main deck means that if Sam runs out Shuko right now, he has to be aware of that possibility.
So we're going to see Volatile Stormdrake here. Give me that Wall of Roots. Eli's going to float a mana, of course, put an extra counter on it. A -1, -0, sorry, a -0, -1 counter.
Yeah, one of the very unique counters in Magic the Gathering, of which there are quite a few.
Yeah, you go back far enough, there are +2/+1 counters, +1/+2 counters, +2/+2 counters, all sorts of nonsense back in the olden days. We don't tend to see cards like this too much, but Wall of Roots is a bit of a throwback, and so it is a bit of a weirder counter.
And that ability has been activated, so I believe Sam cannot activate it again this turn.
It's still the same card.
It is still the same card, which means that effectively shut off from that extra mana, even though he did get the better part of the exchange, so things just went back to Eli.
So Eli now tapping the Urza's Saga for mana before it's sacrificed to its own ability, the third chapter procking, and we're going to go and fetch something here. Is it going to be the Haywire Might you mentioned earlier?
I wouldn't be surprised.
Yes.
He has an Outrider on Core in hand, so he has the enabler for the Nadu combo that you may be looking for. So at that point, you want to set up insurance against your opponent's Nadu combo, which in this case is the Haywire Might. I do like Sam's play of taking the Wall of Roots. In this matchup, very typically, mana can be king. You're trying to set up enough mana to be able to play your combo, play around potential interaction, and do things in one turn. Even now, Eli is in a position where, because he's short on mana, he couldn't go Outrider on Core and leave up mana to activate the Haywire Might, for example. So it is forced to just go Wall of Roots, land, leave up a Might activation.
The thing about Wall of Roots as well in this particular deck, as we've seen in many other green-based toolbox decks, is that it does so much and asks so little. This card adds mana. It taps to add extra mana to a Court of Calling. And in this deck, it also is a creature you can target with Nadu more than once. it's a very, very important role player in this list.
Yeah, Wall of Roots is, in my mind, sort of stapled to the card Court of Calling.
Yes.
And has been for as long as the two cards have existed
So you can
in
double
formats together,
double dip
because
on the mana, yeah.
it is essentially 2 mana with Court of Calling. And I basically presume that in any format where you are playing a Court of Calling deck, you are playing some number of Wall of Roots. We do see Eli has 2 copies, Sam has the full 4, but essentially its purpose is there to be the roadblock that taps for more mana with Court of Calling.
Oh, that's the other thing to think about. It blocks really well as well. It's a 0/5.
0/5 is a big stat line.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. All right. We have Urza's Saga, which is going to be blown up by the Haywire Might here. Eli gains 2. Going after that Urza's Saga very aggressively there with the Might.
Yeah, it's essentially the same from Eli's point of view as going after a Shuko just on layaway. But also, as I previously alluded to, mana is king in this matchup. So by going after your opponent's mana, you are slowing down what Sam is capable of.
Little Stone Rain there. Yep, little Fulminator Mage. Okay, Delighted Halfling the play. And it's back to Eli now.
Speaking of mana is king.
Has found Nadu, Winged Wisdom.
He did pick up Nadu, but currently only 5 mana with a land drop available to him, so isn't able to go Nadu and Outrider Encore this turn, which really calls back to Sam's decision to steal Eli's Wall of Roots rather than attempt to sit on this Volatile Stormdrake and save it for a combo piece, saying, if I can slow you down long enough, I can take control of this game.
It's a great point. Shifting Woodland played here by Eli, who, as you've mentioned, is unable to cast and then cast the Nadu and then use the Outrider.
But Eli does have some play here, which is pretty cool. He does have the ability to activate Shifting Woodland because of Delirium and turn it into a Haywire Might and present that as disruption to the potential combo had Sam not done this Endurance play.
Can you have Delirium there with just 2 cards?
Yes, you can.
With just Urza's Saga.
Enchantment land artifact creature.
Yeah, you have an Urza's Saga and a Haywire Might, and you've got Delirium enabled just like that.
Yeah.
The 1-2 punch. Wow. In any case, Eli's certainly not delirious at this stage as the Endurance comes down to shuffle that graveyard away.
Yeah, and we may be done here. Sam, of course, we know, has the Nadu and the Shuko in hand.
Okay.
So the only question is he scared? You know, birds are the theme of the weekend. Is he chicken? You know.
Is he chicken?
Yes.
And will he make a goose of himself by tossing away what is a terrific position for him?
Step 1, cast this.
All right.
Step 2, cast this.
Seems to be going pretty well for him so far.
Step 3, settle in. Bring out the assembly line counter.
There we go. A highly advanced piece of technology here. A bit of paper with the numbers 1, 0, and 2 written down. But this is going to help us track these Shuko activations, which of course are triggering the Nadu's ability. So first one on the Endurance now.
All right, that should do it.
Finds the Summoner's Pack. Summoner's Pack can go and get the
Springtime Nantuko. Typically, the Nantuko more or less guarantees that you're going to have the creature fuel you need to finish going off.
And you can see here the Wall of Roots. I think we're going to see the 5th and final counter placed on it as Sam moves it to the left of screen here.
That's why you did see Sam actually finishing the Wall of Roots activations before going for the Endurance activation.
So Summoner's Pact here, and you can see this comes back, Marty, to an observation you made earlier. The fact that Sam used the Volatile Drake to steal the Wall of Roots, that's why we're in this position here now. Eli is sitting on 5 mana, not enough for the Nadu and the Outrider that's in his hand. Very, very different game if that Volatile Drake hadn't been part of this.
Yeah, and of course the outcome isn't deterministic. Nadu Outrider, Eli could have fizzled, but you never want to be in that position where you're counting on your opponent's fizzling in order to have a chance in the game. And that's where Eli is right now.
Ooh. All right. So we have a.
We have 4 more looks right now.
Okay.
Yeah.
I was going to say.
Yeah,
I guess it's.
This
guess
Misty
it's-
gets a green source.
Yeah.
That gives you an insect. That's 2 more.
And then you can
and
cast
play a
a
halfling. That's 2 more. So Sam needs to miss on lands and Court of Callings in the next 4 looks.
Okay. So if the top 4 cards are just random creatures or cards that aren't going to be any good here.
All right, we're done.
All right, never mind. Okay.
Yeah.
Pack it up. Looks like this one is going to go the way of Sam Pardee here as the Nadu train continues to roll into the station.
Second.
And with the Teferi, we can now crack the Windswept Heath to find another land, or just play the Halfling here to
Well, the
get
thing
2 extra
is,
cards.
by picking up that land,
Yeah.
and assuming Sam has an untapped land to go get here, which is, I think, the only question mark now. He should, of course. There should be a Temple Garden somewhere in the deck that isn't currently in play, so
Look here.
he should have a land that he can go get untapped here. And if he can, that he can go Wall of Roots, add a counter to that for a halfling, or if there's the Temple Garden, in fact. So if he plays Wall of Roots, with that insect and the Wall of Roots, he can continue triggering. If he hits another land, plays another Wall of Roots, because Wall of Roots is essentially a creature that immediately gives you mana to play halfling,
Yes.
and also 2 more Nadu targets.
Second.
All right, Shuko. Another Shuko.
Yep. Wall.
Pass
Wall.
that. First.
You have a Maya. Yeah.
Okay, everything's a forest.
Second.
Yeah.
See another Nadu put in hand.
First.
Haywire Might.
Second.
See another card here that's a Beseiju. And remember that that wall hasn't been activated just yet. The insects keep flowing. Another land, another insect.
Second.
The assembly line wears on.
Yeah, now we're hitting those lands. Now we've got insects coming in. There's another fetch land, and Eli is going to concede here. He's seen enough, and we go to game number 2, Sam Pardee. That key play, the Volatile Drake removing the Wall of Roots, preventing Eli from going off. So we head on to game number 2. I will remind you, this is best of 5 here, meaning that these players will not have sideboarded just yet, Money. They play 2 pre-board games before finally moving to the sideboards in game number 3. Sam Pardee and his supporters will be very happy to see him getting up in game number 1, but I know that there are hordes of people also hoping to see Eli win. So for their sake, let's hope that he has a better go of things.
You know, these
game
guys are
number
friends,
2.
former teammates. They both used to be on Team Channel Fireball, now Ultimate Guard Channel Fireball. And now Eli is on a different Ultimate Guard team, Team Handshake Ultimate Guard, while Sam is carrying the last remaining flag here for Team Channel Fireball Ultimate Guard.
The big beats. I'm at 16.
All right, Shuko suits up the Haywire Might and knocks down Sam down to Pardee. Down to 16, I should say. Eli Kassis on 6 cards.
Yes.
Yeah, a mulligan, unfortunately for him.
Good
And,
mulligan, as you look at this hand.
Yes, with not only the Shuko, but the Nadu as well. Shoku is a nice one to have picked up here. Sam Pardee, on the other hand, a hand full of action.
Yes.
But he needs, I guess with the Delighted Halfling, he's not too constrained on mana here.
Yeah, so Sam has a decision to make here, which is, do you, on your mulligan to 6 on the play, have it? Because if he thinks that Eli has it, he needs to go to Fairy, bounce the Shuko here, right? That stops Eli from being able to do it next turn. But that is essentially doing nothing if Eli doesn't have it.
Yeah.
Right? And you're giving up a turn where you could be developing Wall of Roots plus, let's say, Sun Cleanser, which doesn't do anything in this particular matchup. Certainly not the same power level as something like the Volatile Stormdrake that we saw in the previous game. But what it does do is it gives you a wider board for Court of Calling.
Yes.
And if you can set up in a position where you can go Nadu, Court of Calling for Outrider Encore, then you're just going to win the game. So the question is Sam scared? And is he going to Teferi out against this Shuko?
Let's see. I think he is, yeah. And this is a wise decision based on the information that we have here, knowing that Eli does in fact have it after mulliganing to 6 and being on the play. going to bounce here.
Yeah,
Interesting decision here for Sam.
Well, if you bounce the Shuko, the Might is going to
Bounce
kill the
the Shuko.
Teferi, but you're safe against the combo.
Uh-huh.
If you bounce the Might, the Teferi lives, but potentially Eli goes off.
So it is the Shuko that gets bounced, so you're losing your Teferi here. So this is, as you kind of mentioned, Sam kind of spinning the wheels a little bit, but ultimately, us obviously having information about what's in hand, we can make a
so jealous.
a much more overhead and assessment of what's going on.
Right. It's the safe play. It really is, but it is the play that will lose your Teferi, and the next turn you are once again being asked a question. And for Sam, it's how safe is he going to play it? Is the next turn going to be Wall of Roots, land, pass? Are you going to leave up a Court of Calling for 1, and you still won't be able to activate? One thing Sam could do is he could go Wall of Roots, land, and Court of Calling for 1 on his turn to get out Haywire Might, then pass, and the Wall of Roots would be able to activate for green mana,
Yes.
threatening a Haywire Might activation.
On the next turn.
Right.
Yes, yeah.
Of course, for Eli, he has his own Haywire Might, so this exchange only requires a position where Eli isn't able to Might the Might in response before his turn, etc. It's a lot.
Yeah, well, I was going
Yeah.
to say, he might be able to Might the Might,
Yeah.
but he also might not.
Hmm.
We'll find out.
We might.
We might. So these two now, you can see a fair bit of thought going into this game. It's an extremely high pressure environment for both of them. Playing in the Pro Tour on a Sunday, in the semi-finals, wanting to lock up that finals slot, give themselves the best chance at the championship here. They've come so far. Not the sort of time to be making errors of judgment.
I believe we were still on the Surveil land there from Eli, trying to finalize the card on top, whether he wanted to keep it or not, and decides to keep it. As I don't quite know what it was. It was a duplicate Shuko.
Double Shuko. Okay, here's a breeding pool down to 17.
Yeah, and I think you just run out Nadu here.
Yep.
There's not that much for you to be scared of in that spot.
All right. We're going to play the Shuko first.
Do you run out 2 Shukos? Or do you leave up a Seiju?
All right, ships the turn, leaves up a Beseiju, so this can disrupt the combo if Sam has it, as he's going to be able to play a third land, have access to 4 mana. But as we know, he doesn't have the Shuko just yet. Does have Court of Calling to go and get the Outrider, as you've already talked about, Money. So
Yeah.
Sam doesn't quite have it here, but both players playing very conservatively.
Yes. Very much understanding the position that if you give your opponent a window, you are essentially giving away a game. And when you can afford not to give away that window, you should do it. Which is why Sam is using his resources in such a way that they are expendable to buy a turn. That is ultimately everything he can hope for, is buying a turn.
Wall of Roots the play, and we're going to see that followed up with a Sun Cleanser, thanks to the Wall of Roots activation as well. Now, you've already mentioned, Marnie, but we can talk about it again. This card isn't doing much in this matchup, but it does provide a warm body
Yep.
Sorry, I guess
for both Court of
target
Calling
you with Sun Cleanser's ability.
and-
No energy for you this game.
and a...
Making sure we are actually resolving that trigger properly.
yes, indeed.
And here we go.
All right, here it is. Here's Nadu Winged Wisdom. And so now it is time for Eli
To that.
to attempt to go off. There's going to be an Endurance.
Endurance,
Okay, so
exiling Nadu.
yeah, this is with the evoke on the
targeting
stack.
myself with the ability to down the
Sam
stack
is
by
going to
fetch.
go fetch a Haywire Might, I believe. Or actually, he is able to do it for 2, so he could go and get the Volatile Stormdrake and offer a little trade here.
So this is putting an evoke, an extra creature on the battlefield so you can cast Cord. Wow, that's clever.
Yes.
That's very, very clever, because without the Endurance, you wouldn't be able to play a Cord
Yep.
for this amount. And there's the Volatile Storm Drake.
Yeah, that is the Nadu trigger from the Storm Drake targeting.
Yes.
Yep, and I'll pay.
The trade deal happens.
Trigger reverse. Yep.
It's a pretty good trade deal. And this is the second Nadu trigger. This is the one from the
Then
original
my endurance
Shuko.
trigger is gonna
So now the
resolve.
Endurance trigger is
Yep.
going to shuffle. Oh, Sam's Graveyard back into his library. He decides to put it in the bottom.
Didn't think so.
And now Sam is able to untap in a great spot. This
Sam has the Outrider. He's able to untap
this
in
volatile,
a winning spot.
Volatile Storm Drake is just proving to be one hell of a magic card.
Yeah, it was set to be the card of the weekend by some of the players at the Players Party. A innocuous little 2-drop, and we are seeing the massive difference that it does make being in Sam's main deck, where Eli only has access to it in the sideboard, being able to fetch it at instant speed there by using that Evoked Endurance for extra mana. Just incredibly clever lines that are ultimately going to give Sam this position. Though, sorry, did we see the Outrider wrong?
Maybe he didn't have the Outrider.
All right, it looks like
Okay.
that
Oh,
was
it
a
doesn't have
mistake.
it. All right.
All right, all right.
I believe it was on the screen.
I thought I saw
I
it.
thought I saw it.
It's all good because now Sam is hellbent and Eli has another Nadu. So
This is on 2.
All right. Court of Calling here for Eli Kassis. So without any way to activate the Nadu that Sam pinched off of Eli with that Volatile Storm Drake, he just had to pass the turn after playing the Halfling. Court of Calling for Eli Kassis is going to go and fetch up the bird. And now, there's nothing standing in Eli's way.
nope.
The O2 thing.
Can I have the O2 thing? Well said.
Yes,
Most
indeed.
elegant.
You made your own bed there, and
It never works out
you're
well.
gonna hang yourself.
A little bit of a mixed metaphor there.
Yeah, no, it's fine.
We're getting hanged in bed, apparently.
Let us sit.
We're just going to let that one go.
All right, well,
All right. So Haywire Might being targeted by the Shoku. It still seems to be attached to the Volatile Drake, but of course
and that's a
it's,
big find for Eli. That is a second Nadu,
okay.
which means that should he miss on all of these, he can reset. That is the big, let's say, feature of Nadu is that the text on Nadu only applies to that Nadu. So when you play a new one, you do it all again, Riley.
All of those, all of the trigger counter resets, essentially.
Right.
All right, Endurance off the top. Here is a Delighted Halfling that I think is being surveilled
Correct.
into the bin with the Hedge Maze.
Yeah, Eli just saying I can do better. And I believe, given his hand, he should just reset Nadu here and continue going.
Yep.
Do it all again.
Yep.
Do it all again.
So that means that all of these
Goodbye,
creatures
sweet bird.
can be retargeted here. Nadu number 1. Delighted Halfling into hand. Nadu number 2. And there's a land, right?
In Swept Heap, I believe.
Crappy arts to make do with card availability.
Yeah.
All right,
Wall of
You got
Roots.
the right wall of roots.
It's not too bad.
as previously mentioned, is excellent.
But we'll be looking here for the Spring
That'll
Art and
do it, I
Tuco.
think.
Court of Calling should be enough to go and fetch it up.
Yeah, with the Dryad Arbor, almost certainly. Of course, the lands, that will also do it.
Yep.
The lands currently available to Eli are fetch lands. So ideally, you'd like to be activating those after
Once
the
the,
Nantuko is in
Nantuko's in
play,
play.
which is why you see him continuing to dig further and hope maybe to find it naturally. But now it's a matter of figuring out exactly what the tapping situation is going to look here. All right.
90,000%. Okay.
All right.
This is yours.
All
This
right.
is Monsters.
So it seems here that Sam has had enough and is going to
Yes.
concede this game, and therefore we are all wrapped up at 1-1 at the end of game number 2, Marnie. These Bant Nadu players splitting the difference in our pre-sideboarded games.
Yeah, we did almost see the high impact of that pre-boarded Storm Drake in both of these games. In the first game, of course, it did buy Sam enough time to do things. In the second game, it almost gave Sam the full combo, just missing that one piece, but at least disrupted Eli for a turn until that great draw. And really, it is a matter of very, very small margins when it comes to this mirror match, because at any time, a player could just lose.
And that was the thing. If Sam had that Shuko or the Outrider Encore, as we thought he may have had, would have been a very, very different story. But as it is, we're going to take a quick break, my friends, and on the other side of it, we'll be back for post-sideboard games in our first semi-final. Eli Kassis and Sam Pardee. The action continues here from Amsterdam after this. Coverage of Pro Tour Modern Horizons 3 continues here from Amsterdam in the Netherlands. It's my great pleasure to welcome you back to the booth here with me, Riley Knight, and Marnie Davudi, walking you through our first semi-final. Eli Kassis facing off against Sam Pardee. These boys are all tied up 1-1. And now, after having played 2 games, we move into the post-board matches of this best of 5 showdown between these 2 players. Bant, Nadu. It's a mirror. There are slight differences between the decks, Marnie, and I'll talk about the sideboarding choices that both players have made as we head in. But Volatile Stormdrake, the card I think both of us will have our eyes on, particularly in these post-boarded games, seems to be something of a mirror breaker.
Yeah, and fortunately for the mirror breaker, now that we're in post-sideboard games, both players have access to it. So one apiece alongside all the ways to get it, like that all-important Court of Calling. So...
All right, well, let me hit you with the sideboard information here. Hot off the presses, scooped from the feature match area. We have Sam Pardee bringing in 2 Dismembers and a copy of Urza Saga, taking out Endurance, Spring Hut and Tuco, and obviously the Sun Cleanser, not doing a huge amount in this matchup. Interesting to see a Spring Hut and Tuco shaved. I'll come back for your thoughts on that, Marnie. But for Eli, Force of Vigor, Stormdrake and Dismember coming in and out. 2 copies of the One Ring and Bristly Bill. So Stormdrake coming in for Eli, we expected that. Talk to us about that Spring Hut and Tuco being taken out.
I think the big reasoning is that Sam was playing the full 4 copies, as are many players, but you don't actually need the full 4 copies to go off. And when you're playing a matchup where you're not expecting that much disruption from your opponent, that is one of the combo pieces that you can afford to cut because it doesn't begin your combo, it just enhances your combo.
Sylvan Safekeeper here for Sam Pardee. This is the original one from Judgment.
So Ole himself.
Featuring friend of the show, Olarada.
Not that one.
Not that one?
Yeah.
No.
We can't show you the original, but
I don't think we have the art loaded into the system.
Believe us when we say Ole Rade's face is on there.
He's riding a spider and has got a full luscious head of hair.
Ole Rade's 20-year-old-ish.
Yeah,
face,
exactly.
Not his
looks a little
current
bit.
face.
Doesn't have his very fashionable glasses on when he's riding that spider. But as it is, Sam Pardee developing his board nicely here. Wall of Roots. See a Shuko coming down as well. On the other side of things, Delighted Halfling. Half man, halfling. Opening things up for Eli.
Yeah, and both players have their combo, but Eli has a very important piece of disruption in the Force of Vigor, as well as a Dismember. So can just develop his own Nadu here, pass the turn, and say that if you have just the Shuko and you go for Nadu, I can exile the Shuko in response and then try to win on my turn.
This is one of those cards brought in from the sideboard, as we talked about. A turn 2 Nadu isn't too bad here for Eli. He'll be happy with that. And now it's up to Sam Pardee to figure out what he can do with his turn. He has the Nadu, he has the Shuko. What's going to happen here, Money?
Biased coverage. All right. One there.
Bigger.
I'm a little surprised why Eli didn't respond to the Nadu itself.
Right.
Rather, it looks like he has allowed it to resolve.
So he's getting one.
So
Sam's getting one
Sam
trigger.
is getting one trigger.
So the Force of Vigor could have been cast in response to the Nadu to destroy the Shuko without any triggers resolving.
Right.
Okay.
I believe so. So a little strange.
Okay. Gets a free
Of
land out of
course,
it.
there is a Sylvan Safekeeper. So there are triggers available to Sam, though very limited. It would be quite risky to go for it here, but also it would be quite risky to wait, as if Eli just plays a Shuko,
All right.
things go very wrong.
So we're going to see it here. The Wall of Roots targeted and immediately replaces itself with another land here for
And
from the first Nadu trigger.
Sam has a Summoner's Pact, so if he really wanted to risk it all, he could go Summoner's Pact, go get a Springheart Nantuku, and try to send it.
Harness the power of Olorada himself here in the form of Sylvan Safekeeper. Sam's thinking about it. We're seeing a bit of table piano as he counts it up.
He's 100% thinking about it. Like, the thing is, if you play this pact and you miss, you're just dead.
You're so dead.
You are not paying that pact trigger.
Dead, yes.
Like,
Yes. There's no way. I'll sacrifice all my lands. Upkeep.
Sam is currently doing the math of, am I more likely to not lose to my own pact by going for it here, or to you just having a Shuko in hand?
Now, he's already played a land, has he?
I believe he has.
Oh, maybe not. Both of those lands were
He sacrificed a Temple Garden.
Oh, no, he said... Yes, he sacrifices Temple Garden to the...
But he did hit
Sylvan-
both Otawara and Misty Rainforest, so he has not played a land.
I think he's played a land yet. Okay,
Yeah,
so that's
so-
important. That gives him another...
He's
another
going.
No, he's going for it. All
All
right.
right.
Buckle up, my friends. Keep your hands inside the card at all times because we are off down the track here. Here is the Springheart Nantuko.
I can't help but wonder if I'm missing something about this Force of Vigor timing, because this one extra land, this one extra trigger is representing so much more for Sam Pardee that I just have to assume that we're missing something, right?
Shroud, actually.
That's what I meant.
Well, let's find out. Let's see how this goes. So Sam fetches a forest with his Misty Rainforest and will
Make your own fate too.
use the mana to...
Sorry?
So you make your own fate too.
Yeah.
He's
Bestow
going
here,
to
which is the first trigger on this one.
bestow
Yep.
the Nantuko onto the Sylvan Safekeeper. Finds
Doesn't
a
trigger this thing.
Beseiju.
It's not in play yet, but then it resolves.
So what happened there, just to
That's
quickly
second
recap as
there.
we start sacking, is Sam bestowed to get an extra trigger, but because that trigger happens in response to the bestow, he doesn't get an insect from
Yes.
it because the Nantuko hasn't resolved yet.
Yes, but now it's on the battlefield.
Now it's on the battlefield, and
Nadu,
uh,
before the ability resolves, obviously, I might do more.
yeah,
Right.
so
Court of Calling. Get another land.
yeah. So right now, there is a Shroud trigger targeting Nadu. So Sam has a choice to respond, because if he doesn't target the Nadu again here, it's over in terms of targeting him. Oh my God!
Now the land.
All right, and I think
By the seat of his pants here.
that's enough. That's 2 more insects. He can go get the Outrider now.
Right,
He
with the
does
Court
not.
of-
With the Court of Calling.
Oh,
And
thank
he
goodness.
doesn't have to do.
Thank goodness for Sam by the skin of his teeth, Marty.
He doesn't have to do any more Sylvan safekeeping here.
Because
it is
his creatures have Shroud. Once they've got Shroud, you can't target them anymore.
correct.
It doesn't matter if it's you or your opponent. It's different from Hexproof. All right, so there's the Dryad Arbor. That's another place to...
Yeah. So 1, 2, 3, Outrider, and G, I
Yeah,
believe.
well, it should be from this point. We've assembled all the pieces. We've got the Springheart Nantuko. We've got the Shuko. The Outrider in core, in order to provide Nadu triggers. And we've got a bunch of untargeted creatures. As it is, 8 more cards off the top, just as a starting point.
Yes.
10 triggers, and I have 2 mana.
10.
And Eli's going to concede, having seen that there is more than enough here for Sam Pardee to burn through his library and go through one of those convoluted endgame loops that allows Nadu to win. So, this puts Sam Pardee in the position where just 1 more game win, Marnie, will see him in a Pro Tour final.
And you saw that Sam tanked about going for it there, but he didn't tank that long. And that's really what is incredible to me about the decision-making abilities of these high-level pro players, is just the identification there from Sam Pardee that this is the line I have to take, because he almost certainly would have lost going the other way. So going for it there in the riskiest manner possible and getting rewarded for that decision, just
Bold.
really fun stuff to watch.
Bold, brave play here from Sam Pardee, and he gets across the line. 2 games to 1 against Eli Kassis. Opening things up with a Shuko here.
Eli has both combo pieces again and is on the play this time, but Sam has a Dismember and both combo pieces for himself, plus a Nantuko.
Summoners pack, Springheart Nantuko, Shuko, Dismember, and a Misty.
Wall of Roots Shuko here.
Eli plays out the Wall of Roots, and then, of course, can use the mana to cast one of the Shukos in hand. So he's down to the Nadu Winged Wisdom in hand as well, but Sam Pardee in this position, what's he able to do this turn?
Well, what he has to do is, I believe, leave up the Dismember, because now he's in a position where he loses to, well, potentially loses. I am using the word loses a little liberally,
but
in terms of...
We're broadly making the assumption that if you can assemble Nadu plus Shuko, you are odds-on favourite to win the match, or the game,
I do want to make it clear to those watching at home that when I say loses, I'm referring to the combo being assembled, and there's no guarantee that it is actually going to be a kill.
But it's often likely that once you have these cards in place, you will win the game, even if it is a little convoluted. But I'm sure all the nitpicking, hair-splitting nerds out there will appreciate the distinction you're making, Marnie.
All right, so triggers 1 and 2. 1 being the Shuko targeting the Nadu, 2 being the Dismember targeting the Nadu. Both net Eli lands, which is great, but not great.
The question I have here is, even though the Nadu has left the battlefield and the Shuko never actually gets equipped to it, we still get the Nadu trigger?
Correct.
All right.
Because it was targeted. The way priority works in Magic is because it was Eli's main phase. He played Nadu, and the stack is empty. Before Sam can do any sort of responding or casting of spells, Eli has the ability to immediately activate the Shuko, target the Nadu.
And even destroying the Nadu in
that
response
trigger
to
is
that trigger,
on the stack.
it's going to resolve. Okay, all right. So this is unlike some other situations where you still need a trigger upon the resolution of a, you still need a target on response for a trigger to resolve.
Right.
Not in that case here. We still get the land or the card as it were. All right.
And now, Sam gets to go the other way. And again, it is a question of how much do you risk it? Because if you go Summoner's Pact for a Nadu, and Eli has a removal spell of some kind, you may not be able to pay for the Pact. So we'll see if Sam decides that this is a situation where he wants to risk it, or whether he wants to... Oh, he just drew a Nadu naturally? Is that what just happened?
It's an easy way to do things for sure. That's an easy way to do things.
Oh, he doesn't have a third land here. Okay, so all of this is very easy. He just gets to play Springheart Nantuko, pass the turn, and hope to draw a land. Because as is, his hand isn't doing anything to interact meaningfully anyways.
So, Shuko,
Okay.
pass the turn. Keep up Spell Pierce. That's going to be relevant, but doesn't choose to play the Spring Hunt Nantuko there.
Does not choose to deploy it, saying that at least the Spell Pierce, as is currently presented with the 6/7 mana that Eli has access to, if Eli has no land in hand and is just forced to go Chord of Calling for Exegol 3, at least the Spell Pierce can get it.
Well, that's what you sort of look at. You go, okay, well, sure, Spell Pierce against a deck that is desperately in need of a creature, right? Like Eli's best draw is a Nadu. But if you're looking to play something like a Chord of Calling, tap low for something like that, Spell Pierce can make all the difference.
And once again, we are seeing the incredible power of these very innocuous Surveil lands in Modern. Just Eli having the ability to crack a Windswept Heath, go get a Hedge Maze, make a decision, and then if it's not good, go get another land.
See, they're really, really good in regular decks, right? You play them in Jeskai Control, you play them in all these other lists that aren't super low to the ground aggro decks, but they are so good in combo lists where people are looking for one particular card, they're searching for a key piece of their deck.
Are you ready for it?
What's he found? Let's see. Big draw.
All right, so right now, that's not exciting. There is a creature and a land and an enchantment in the graveyard. So, if Eli could find a way to put one more card type in there to be able to activate that Shifting Woodland in hand and turn it into a Nadu, that would have been a way to combo off.
Okay.
Unfortunately, he does not have that, and Sam has
All right.
the combo, quote unquote.
Let's see what he can do with it
He
here.
needs 2 lands.
Let's see if he can find them. Right, so Shuko activation number 1
Percentage here, right?
on the Nadu.
All right, second Spell Pierce,
Spell Pierce,
not
no
going
good.
to help.
No.
And that
then
should
number 2.
guarantee
All right.
that he can't combo off this
Okay.
turn.
Just
So-
got my 2 cards, and I'll pass it back to you.
And I think this is probably what people envisaged with Nadu. You know,
Yeah.
you play it, draw a couple of cards, your go.
Yeah.
Rather than the
Very reasonable magic.
full-on degeneracy combo that
All right,
we
Eli
see
needs
sometimes.
one of many things here to close out the game. What is his draw? Force of Vigor. That's pretty good against two Shuko.
Yes.
Hopefully it's coming back.
And it is an instant into the yard as well. Unfortunately, he has nothing to pitch for it, but I think he has...
He can just
If
hard
he
cast
leaves
it.
up a second green here, yeah, he can still go Shifting Woodland, turn it into a Nadu, I think.
So
They're out of here.
Force of Vigor destroys both of the Shukos.
Yeah.
That's a lovely little 2-for-1 for him. And now,
You have a forest, Woodland comes into play untapped, you pay 4 with its own mana,
make it into a
you
tap.
turn it into a tap Nadu,
tap Nadu.
and you start triggering.
Here we go.
Here we go.
Very exciting line here for Eli Kassis as he turns his Shifting Woodland into a Nadu. It is a tapped Nadu. Not that that matters hugely. That ability is going to trigger all the same. And we're off to the races once again with the Shuko.
I love Shifting Woodland. All things about the absurd uses of it
Yes.
aside, this is such a cool card
Yeah.
design. Being able to have a land that can turn into any permanent is just,
Yeah,
Oh, sorry, it's backwards.
it's very cool. It's genuinely very cool.
Okay, so we have Nadu triggers now from the transformed or the copied Shifting Woodland.
This is not correct?
Yep.
Yeah.
Wall of Roots puts another land into play.
He has the Nantuko in
This is
hand.
a high leverage one.
Okay, big one here. And it's an untapped land. It's an untapped source of mana.
This
This
has been used also, right?
this means now that the Spring Hunt Nantuko could be played.
Yep.
Yep.
Down to 14.
One more hit I have to hit.
Yep.
All right, he needs to hit one more land, he said. If this Nantuko comes down, 2 looks, 1 land would do it because it would make an insect, and probability dictates that it will probably be able to cast the Halfling.
Yes. Which
That-
will provide another 2 cards.
Right.
And then you only need to find a land in the next 4 cards to
Right.
keep the train rolling.
Right.
Yes. Yeah.
And that would be pretty close to the point where Sam will concede. Though, of course, we are in the top 4 of a Pro Tour. So he may go a few iterations deeper than
Yeah.
what we would call the normal concession point at the professional level.
All right. Eli Kassis in the middle of resolving a Misty Rainforest activation here. Goes and finds a basic forest.
All right. Very, very high stakes.
Yes.
In Nadu triggers here.
And Sam Pardee says, no, you make your own destiny, my friend. Here we go. Take one from the Painland. Down comes the Nantuko.
Trigger
Huge,
one.
huge
Top of the deck.
draws here. It's a land.
It's a
It is
fetch
a land.
It's a fetch land.
It's even
quite
better
out of
than
the
just a
woods, but-
source of green for that delighted halfling. This is going to make all the difference for Eli Kassis.
Make room, everybody. We got a 5.
Nadu off the top isn't too bad either, in case we generate enough mana to be able to reset the entire board with its triggers. Another Nadu. Okay,
right,
well,
that's good.
We can calm down on the Nadus for now.
Another fetch
Another
land.
fetch
All
land,
right.
and this one should be all over Red Rover here. We've got an Nantuko, which is spitting out insects like
a bit
there's
too
no
far
tomorrow.
there, Eli. That's the 2 triggers pile. You want that in the 1 trigger pile. There you go. Thank you, Sam.
Sam helping him out. All right, Summoner's Pact as well.
That can go get another Nantuko, though, of course. You don't need
Well,
them.
just draw one. Just draw one.
Yeah.
There we go. All right. Misty Rainforests. We'll go and find another land. Eli down to 12. Can play a Delighted Halfling. Can play another Nantuko.
Trigger.
Dryad
Yeah,
Arbor.
that seems-
Another land
seems
that's going to trigger
We
the
have hit
Nantuko and
the point.
more Nadu triggers.
that
And
was a
Eli
good swing.
Kassis equalizes in game number 4. Sam Pardee, Eli Kassis, this game going down to the wire. Marnie, which of our 2 Bant Nadu players will find their way to the final here? We're going to find out. Thanks so much for being with us here in Amsterdam at Pro Tour Modern Horizons 3. You're in the booth with me, Riley Knight, joining me, my friend and stalwart companion, Money Devoody, partner in crime.
Till the end, ride or die.
That's it, Nick. That's it, my dude. We are ride or die homies here. We're going to take this thing home here. Sam Pardee, Eli Kassis battling for their berth in the final of this Pro Tour here. Both of them, as we've said, no strangers to success. They won online championships. They've won one each. But this would be the first time that either of them would hoist a Pro Tour trophy.
Yeah, Sam has lost in the finals of a Pro Tour before. Eli has lost in the finals of the World Championships before. Both of them would love to add another victory for their resume.
And I know both of them will have hordes of supporters all around the world cheering them on as they do battle. A very stately affair between these 2 blokes as well. Both of them softly spoken, both of them very, you know, deliberate and considered players of this game. We're not seeing the high-octane energy of a Dominguez or a Nielsen in the feature match area here.
Right, it's very focused. It's friendly, but it is not outrageously energetic.
No.
It is very much contained as these 2 players, you know, both are playing the same deck, which means both are very well aware of how much rides on each turn and how important these upcoming few decisions are.
Yes.
I like when it's easy.
Now, Eli has a Haywire Might in hand, which means Eli has an answer to Urza's Saga, which means Eli can slow Sam down in a meaningful way, both on mana and on the ability to stop Sam from being able to go fetch a Shuko. So that's step 1, and it may be a 4th step here from Eli.
His hand looks pretty good, though. Got the Nantuko, got the Wing Wisdom, and Nadu.
And we're back to the same question as before, the same question Sam found himself with. If Eli goes Wall of Roots, he sets up for a more explosive next turn. But he also gives Sam a window to combo. If Eli goes Haywire Might, he's essentially spending a turn doing nothing, but also sending Sam back a turn.
All right, Wall of Roots here, the
Ooh,
play
now
from
hold on.
Eli.
That's not true. Eli can go Wall into Might, and then on the upkeep, hit that Urza's Saga.
Before the Urza's
Best of
Saga,
both
yeah, and we're
worlds.
going to see exactly that line taken. Well spotted, Money here. Eli saw it as well. He's going to sacrifice his Haywire Might to exile the opposing Urza's Saga, gain 2 in the process. And this is, as you say, in the upkeep before
Right.
the 3rd law counter triggers. to get the Urza Saga go and fetch a Shuko.
Yeah, the power wall of roots once again showing itself on not only, as we mentioned previously, Court of Calling, but also the fact that it is one of the very rare creatures in Magic that can generate a mana both on your turn and on your opponent's turn. Once again, just showing exactly how much this card enables for these types of decks, especially in matchups where it really does come down to one mana, one turn.
Oh, yeah.
One slight margin
Razor
determining the outcome of the game.
Razor thin margins, particularly when it comes to mana in this Bant Nadu mirror here. All right, well, speak of Bant Nadu, and yea, verily shall it appear.
All right.
Here is the bird.
Sam has the combo next turn, I believe. And as far as I can tell, with Court of Calling for 6 mana,
Yes. Again, thanks to our good
using
friend Wall of Roots.
to go get Outrider Encore. Eli, from what I can see of his hand, has 0 way to interrupt this.
Okay.
All right, Spring Heart and Tuco here for Eli Kassis.
Yep.
So if Sam goes for it, there's a chance it's over.
Flashing in Endurance doesn't really do anything.
Not really.
All right. There's no Force of Vigor, no other way, no Dismember, no way to interrupt what Sam may be able to do next turn.
So the question is, will Sam try to wait, play around something?
Will he go for it here? Sam Pardee poised on the edge
And will he whiff?
of a potential victory. This is the other thing. We are sort of taking it for granted that once you get the combo assembled, you do just go off and win the game. Not always the case here.
Yes, it's a numbers game. It really is. And the numbers are overwhelmingly in favor of a combo.
But as we've said many times throughout the weekend,
Anything is possible.
anything is possible. Mathematics, not an exact science.
Absolutely not.
Absolutely not.
No
So
one's ever said it was.
we will see how the numbers shake out here if Sam is to go for it in his turn. He has the Nadu. He has in hand a Court of Calling, which can go and fetch for the Outrider Encore. Thanks to Wall of Roots. Will Sam Pardee attempt to win this game and this match on the spot here and secure his position in a Pro Tour final?
And there's one thing that I think Sam will take into consideration here. It's that Eli, unlike Sam, doesn't play Spell Pierce in his list. So the card that Sam would use to stop this Court of Calling, Eli doesn't have. And remember, Wall is mana neutral,
Mana neutral.
for Court of Calling.
All right, we're going for
He's
it here.
going for it.
We're going for it here. Sam Pardee is going to cord for 3 and go and fetch an Outrider Encore. And Eli, just with a regretful shake of the head, doesn't have anything to say about that other than sure, it resolves. There's the Outrider.
8 looks.
Sam Pardee poised here.
Okay,
Victory looking overwhelmingly likely for him.
land has been
Chip in the
played.
chair, certainly.
Chip in the chair, says Sam, which means Eli has a chance, but it's not looking great, as
Let's go first
the
one.
saying goes. So here we go.
Right, land.
Second one.
2.
Another land.
Good start.
That's not good. Good start, says Sam.
First one.
First one of the Wall of Roots. Another land.
That's a lot of mana to work with.
Okay. And a Haywire Might here.
All right. That is 2 more looks,
Okay.
and Sam has the mana.
Wall of Roots
Oh my
finds
God, Sam
another
has
land.
all the
He's got
mana.
a lot of mana.
There it is.
There is the Spring Heart Nantuko.
Eli's face says it all.
A bunch of fetch lands here as well. Sam Pardee is
Finals.
moments away, and here is the concession from Eli Kassis. Sam Pardee is going to the finals of Pro Tour Modern Horizons 3. A well-fought, a hard-fought victory for Sam there. Eli Kassis, a worthy and a very formidable opponent. Heartbreaking for him and his supporters, but look, we can say Eli played his guts out, did his very best, but at the end of the day, the cards didn't fall his way.
Yeah, when a matchup is that tight, when there's so much going on, as we've already seen throughout today alone, let alone the whole weekend, there's so much going on in Modern. The game states are so complicated. The cards do so much. And the matchup is riding on a knife's edge, right? It's that tight. To make arguably one mistake throughout a 5-game match, you really cannot ask for more. And I think Eli has to walk away being incredibly proud of that match. And unfortunately, just both players really were assembled to their combos at the right moments every single game. And it was just that close.
Could have gone either way very easily. Eli Kassis acquitting himself very well. But our victor here in our first semi-final is Sam Pardee, who I believe is standing by with the coverage team's Eli Loney to have a chat about what happened in that match.
I'm here with Sam Pardee. Hey, Sam, guess what?
What's that?
You made a finals.
Sure did, yeah. I've been here once before. I lost Apollo in the finals of Pro Tour Hour, so hoping I can do one better this time.
Again, you're just like super calm, chill, not too fussed about it, and your deck did exactly what you wanted it to in that previous matchup.
Yeah, me and Eli basically took turns, killing each other on turn 3. I broke serve one time, and that was good enough for me to take the match, and hopefully I get to be on the play this time, maybe. We'll see.
Fingers crossed about that. Now let's talk about your potential opponent. Who would you rather face going into the finals?
Well, I think I would rather face Daniel because, like I said, I would get to be on the play in that case. Simon, I'd have to be on the draw. The matchups are pretty similar. Daniel's on 4 color, Simon's on 3, but I don't think that matters too much.
All right, well, Sam, best of luck. It's going to be a great final, regardless of the bird being the word, but I'm looking forward to seeing that matchup very soon.
Thanks very much, Eli, and that is that for our first semi-final. More magic coming your way, however, a quick break, and on the other side of it, Maria and the team at the news desk are going to set up the second semi-final. You're not going to want to miss it. We'll see you back here in Amsterdam at Pro Tour Modern Horizons 3 after this.